Recording in progress. Zoom prompting me. Mistrade. Matt Dave, you HFR. HFR from the floor. HFR. Matt, I don't see it. See, this is my problem with the tech right now. Oh, there it is. There it is. Matt, good morning to you.
Hey, Bob. Good morning to you. How are you?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good. Why wouldn't I? I just retweeted it and I put in a link for some rub. We're in the Manja TV hat today, Matt. We're a little Manja TV promo. It's getting towards that time of year, right? The fall, the holidays. In fact, our boy Longplex said Hallmark are already showing Christmas movies. This has to stop.
Well, it's interesting. I was listening every week. I get a couple new music playlists from Spotify that are curated for me. And this week there was half a dozen or so Christmas songs. I'm like, no, I can't do it October 1st. Sorry.
Right. I mean, it should be against the law.
Yeah. I mean, for me, Thanksgiving's too early for Christmas songs. And, the people that jump the gun there, that's kind of where they start, is right around Thanksgiving. And that's early for me.
Well,
but everything's canceled. Everything's canceled. According to Fauci, you can only see if you're vaccinated, you can get together with your families. Otherwise, you got to have a Zoom holiday season. I guess he said again, whatever that means. I just saw
that in Canada, Matt.
I just have earplugs in, so I don't hear anything he says, and I don't think anybody does. He's cried wolf so many times. Who listens to the fucker?
Matt, the narrative is nonstop. Let's just admit that it's nonstop, and they're. You have to. My hat goes off to them, right? This was one that was recent, Matt. Look at this one. Did you see this?
I did not.
Oh yeah, Draymond Green. The picture on the left was just shared. Okay. It says "fuck it" or die. And it was a picture from 2017 that they photoshopped. It is nonstop. It is nonstop.
Yeah. In other words, he did not wear that recently. Yeah.
No, the pictures for the one on the right is from 2017. That's the actual picture.
Right.
And it's just nonstop. Nonstop messaging. And then today, let me share. Yeah, I got it. We're live streaming to China. I get it. The Project Veritas, this one, undercover. These guys are doing some service, right? Undercover, and they're actual Pfizer scientists. Your antibodies are probably better than the vaccine,
right?
The vaccination, and he explains it a little bit about its broad spectrum, not just targeting one spike protein on the surface of a. Anyway, at what point?
Like we were talking about yesterday, at some point, it doesn't I don't know. We were talking about it last night. At some point, people just stop listening. And, like we said in the past, like not everybody used to push every medicine on everybody. You have a doctor friend that you said can't stand all the pharma commercials. I can't either. Like watching a pro football game now is all beer commercials, seltzer commercials, and then pharma pills. They got something for everything. You stubbed your toe getting another beer, we got a pill for that.
3.6 million views. So this is another thing that the narratives break down and it gets shared far and wide. I don't know. I'm just so sick of the whole fucking thing. I can't even. Let's not even talk about. Let's talk Monday Night Football. And Matt, we both said that the Raiders, they could be 0-3 as much as they were 3-0.
Right.
But again, what I really enjoyed, Matt, was the intra game as the spread moved, the second bet that you made.
Well,
on my strong opinion.
I did, but I also took your other strong opinion for the over, and I got sucked into that one. But
that's why I suck at gambling. I was 50-50.
You were 50-50, but my original -3 won easily because, the Chargers are good. They're 28-14, and the over, anytime you're like getting an over in the 50s, you should definitely take the under. That's a lot of points. That's a lot of points.
Well, and I thought it was interesting that the 3 went to 7 after the Chargers scored right away.
Yeah, and then I'm like, and then it was close. Like, it was 14-0. Then didn't they tie it 14-0? And then they finally pulled away.
No. It was 21-0, and then it was 21-14.
That's what it was.
And then they yada.
More importantly, let's talk about the demise of one of my favorite people, the urban legend.
Inexcusable.
There's a reason why he left Ohio State. He was doing the same shit there. Like, it was so well known. Like, he said he was getting well with his family. No, you were out slutting around before, and you're out doing it again. And
did he quit? Did they fire him? Is there any fallout?
I mean, when you're 0-4, or they didn't play this weekend, so or I think they are 0-4, and you're not winning, and you got the number 1 draft pick, and you're spending all that money. I mean, you can't do this stuff. I mean, this isn't college anymore, Urban. You're in the big time, and you ain't big time outside of Ohio. I hate to tell you.
All right, man. Let's talk some actual price discovery and just a little bit of background here on natural gas, as it's through the roof, right? And continuing so. And this from Julian, cannot pronounce that last name. And Tony Nash, I don't know if he's being sarcastic or what. Nobody could have predicted this. Anyway, Julian, while Gazprom reduced the gas flow to Europe via Belarus and Poland by 70%, via Ukraine by 20% since last week. These are official Gazprom figures. Putin is using energy as a weapon, calling the Merkel-Biden bluff. Germany does nothing to counter the move. It's, the narratives are incredible, right? Because it was all Trump, Russia. He was a Russian puppet, yada, 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 that he was squarely against giving Russia more control over EU gas supplies. Right. And we've talked about it for a year. Like, how is this I don't even understand it.
Yeah, I mean, the politics is way beyond the simplicity of what is being portrayed, right? It's not about green. This is not about green. People still need to heat their homes as we get into the natural fall and winter seasons, and you do this, but it can be used as a very strong silent war type tool if allowed, and this is exactly what's happening, and this is exactly what the prior administration was preventing and doing a great job at.
Yeah, and then Biden gets in and he shuts down the Keystone and green lights the project that would bring gas.
So all the people that are blah blah blah, and right, the Gretas of the world, she still wants a warm house. That's all I have to say, right? So it's like, come on,
Anyway, bring up the gas chart, because I got to tell you, man, when you look at it a little bit longer term, I don't know where you sell this thing. And crude, by the way.
Yeah, well, crude's making a new high today on the move. Natural gas, as you can see here, it ran up again today, but that old high of 632 or so from last week is still in place. So I don't know. I mean, again, if you want to look at a weekly chart, this thing again has traded like this before. Back in 14, we're back to those levels right here at about 650. And then even prior to that, we've been as high as 16, I think, back in 05 or so, as I recall. Yeah, 15, 16. So we have these spikes, and we've talked about this before. So, I'd be careful shorting this, especially with the fundamentals of what's going on and the talking. It's dangerous out there. When it comes to crude, again, I think 79s traded today over 79.30 or so. I'm going to bring it up. I was looking at it this morning. And again, this is a monthly chart. So this is right in the meat of where it's been forever and ever, right? And I'll pull back a little bit so you can see it kind of on a daily. And again, we're making new highs. 77 was the old one. The last few days we've been busting up here. We got up to like 79.5 or so, I think today again. So again, it's just here's the election right here. That's your low of $35 a barrel. That's election night. That's where we're trading. You could fill up your gas tank here at about 209 then. And now cheap gas in Bend, Oregon is about 4. You go down to California, cheap gas is around 5. So
yeah, it was a full C note to fill up the SUV in California.
Yeah,
$100.
So again, we haven't been this high in a long time. Probably the last time we were this high was back here in 18, and we got up to about 75. And prior to that, again, I'm sure you're going to have to go back to the Obama administration, and that's back in here, where for the first 4 years of his administration, we were up in the hundreds. And then he got it down to, before Trump, and then when Trump won, it was somewhere around, where were we here, right around 51. So he got it to negative prices. That whole crazy thing last year. Anyways.
But, yeah, but we talked about this because the bonds look like they're recapturing their trajectory lower. So interest rates higher, energy prices higher, yet the stocks today fully shaking off any of those.
Yeah, but it's just, this is just like, it's typical bear market or, two-way market reaction. It's like, there's absolutely quiet, no news out there of any substance either way today. So it's safe to, they safely took half of this move up overnight. And now the rest of it, comes in the first hour or so of the day. But interestingly enough, as I said to you before we came on, the Russell is not making it went up and then it went straight back down. It was up maybe 1% change and it came right back down the whole full percent. And then the bonds, as you said, are just dragging along the bottom. They tried to break out here at 160.5, really couldn't hold it, and now we're back. We were dipped into the 158s just a moment ago. So yeah, there's a lot of headwinds. This is not your buy the freaking dip market. Again, sell the freaking rip for sure. It may be too early because we did come off quite a bit, but it's a strange little pause here. But again, the Russell it fully reversed where it started today. The NASDAQ and the SPOOs are basically at the highs of the day, pretty much. And the bonds are dragging along the bottom at 159. So it's one of those days where you just kind of have to pause and see where we are.
Well, you were right yesterday. You called it. I'm going to get on board on this pullback, and sell the fucking rip means that it's going to rally.
Yeah.
Right. And so you did great.
I said yesterday, you got to take profits on a lot of it because they were huge moves. If you were short a lot of these names, this is what happens on those big flushes down where we don't close really at the low. You have to take profits. That's what traders do. And then you can wait for them to come back up. Some of the moves again today are fairly significant. You've got Amazon, it was down 100 yesterday and it's up 60 today. Google's up. Let me just look at some of the numbers here. You've got Amazon's up 65, was down 100. Google's up 56, was down 100. So they've all basically retraced what they did the day before, and that's where we are. We're right back. So if you're bullish, I'm not, then you buy here. If you're a bullish Friday, then I guess you're bullish again here, and you're going to be wrong again. I don't know, but we could go higher. It's just like Chipotle had fallen almost $200, and now it's up $60. From that low. And that's just normal. That's what happens. We get these bounces. Everybody, it takes time for momentum to completely and fully roll over, but it's happening. It's happening. We've talked about it significantly. So it's just a strange market.
Hey, Matt, I saw in the Twitter sphere a tweet on how you have to buy Peloton. We talked about Peloton months and months ago.
Yeah.
How you have to buy it because of the double bottom. And I love hearing generic things like always buy the double bottom, never buy the triple, yada, yada, yada. But there's more, for me, I'm fine with buying a double bottom, but it's got to coincide with something else.
Right.
And, maybe Peloton gets a little boost here as we go into winter, right?
Yeah.
Subscriptions.
again, maybe it's the whole Christmas play, but again, if you order it now, you might get it in February. I don't know. Are you going to get it for Christmas?
Too late.
Boats are stuck. Like, yeah.
All right, so that actually looks better with the profile. I was looking at standard deviation modeling, and there's still a lot of room on the downside.
Yeah, but again, if this area we're trading at 82, let's call 75. If 75 goes, 77 was the low here. We didn't really dip into that area. 78 was the low, and that's kind of the high before we broke out. But again, this is back to last October. So in a year, like if you bought this stock last October, you could argue you're right back at the same price. So in a year, it's gone nowhere. All it's done is put in a formative topping. And if you look at a longer term chart on a daily chart, you can see it a little bit more clearly. This 75 area is key. And when it fails, and that's the when it fails, not if, but when it fails, it will work its way down to 66 and then 44. And then ultimately it'll be back to $26. I mean, it's a freaking exercise bike. There's nothing new here. It's got a fancy computer screen, which, I guess you could use your old bike and, get some free YouTube videos and do the same thing. And why do you need to spend $5,000 for a freaking bike? It's not, there's nothing new in the biking world, but people are into it. I get bored with those machines. I don't know about you.
I don't think I've ever, I did some Stairmasters back in the day. Hey, Matt, Ken Griffin out today with a scathing commentary about the city of Chicago, Illinois, and warning that he's going to move the corporate headquarters of Citadel out of Chicago if they don't right their ship. And one of the things he said is Chicago is like Afghanistan on a good day, and that's a problem. And then he scathed Pritzker on not clamping down or bringing in the National Guard quicker. Of course, in the upside down world, his Pritzker spokesman immediately came out and said Ken Griffin's a liar.
Ken Griffin.
Ken Griffin, exactly. Ken Griffin's a junior and a senior. Ken Griffin.
That's where I thought you're at. When you started with Ken Griffin, I'm like, oh wow, the Reds. What's he doing?
Ken Griffin.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's nobody is protected here from the shit show. He talks about not feeling
so
safe.
He's politicking now because he's getting a lot of shit for all the Robin Hood stuff from the AMC boys.
Exactly. And then he actually had the balls to say
it's like it's the same game plan. It's the same narrative that Zuck is running. Okay, somebody comes on Sunday and it was a whistleblower on 60 Minutes, says bad things about Facebook. We'll kill it. We'll crash it tomorrow. That's part of our corporate governance. When shit like this happens, we just kill everything. I mean,
well, it did seem very, 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 the timing was impeccable.
Yeah. And then today, of course, the stock's back up and the whistleblower is in front of the Senate today. So there'll be more news coming for Zuck and crew. And you know what? It's these guys, whether it's Jack, whether it's Zuck, they're all evil, basically. They're using their platforms for evil, and it will be exposed ultimately.
He said that he's fine with them taking away paying for order flow. It's like it should have been illegal the whole time.
We've made our money. We're on to the next trade.
Exactly.
I mean, it's just the same thing as the Fed watchdog now coming out to look at the Fed's trades. We're done with that. We're not doing that anymore.
All right. The last thing I wanted to talk about quickly, and I cannot find it. I'm so pissed I didn't.
The bottom line is there's a lot of headwinds, Bob. There's a lot of stuff still out there that is not favorable for positive markets for the longer term. And you just have to, that's the macro viewpoint. So at some point it matters. And, bonds, higher interest rates are, again, it doesn't matter. The Fed can't stop the market from trading, right? They try, but they can't stop it ultimately. And, something's wrong. Either the bonds are wrong here at higher interest rates or equities are wrong, with the bounce again today. I'll go with the bonds typically, although the volume was light again today. It was light this morning. I haven't looked at it recently. The volume's been pretty light on the ZB specifically today.
All right, Matt. Short show today, baby. Short show, which is fine.
Yeah. Well,
Visit Manja.tv.
Let's talk a little football.
Let's talk college football.
Let's talk a little college football, because it is that time of year where we're getting into the meat of the season. You got a lot of rivalry games this weekend. I'm kind of interested. There's a number of games. I think Oklahoma, Texas, always a good game. The Red River game. We were talking about the Red River yesterday. Speaking of oil and tankers, somebody let us know. Like, the Red River, is it big like the Mississippi? Is it big where boats?
Yeah, but there were hundreds seemingly of oil tankers.
I've never been there. I've been to Oklahoma City. I've been to Tulsa.
I told you, dude. It looked like Hanky Panky Cove in Spring Lake, by Grand Haven there in Michigan. All the oil tankers tied up. I'm wondering if they're partying. They're tied up like they're in Hanky Panky Cove. They got the boom boxes going. Tubes.
They may. The big game, though, for me, obviously, is in the Big Ten. You got number 3 versus number 4, and that's in the country. Iowa hosting Penn State Nittany Lions. That'll be a great game. That's a 1:00 West Coast game. So 4:00. Iowa is favored by 2. It's a pick'em game, right? You got Michigan, again, getting no respect, having to travel again to Lincoln, which they almost beat Michigan State. Every game is a trap game for Michigan. This is, I always say this to people, like whether you're playing the Illini and Champaign, the Hoosiers and Bloomington, they hate us. They want to muck Michigan. They want to wear all this stuff. They want to beat us. I mean, that's what it's like being Michigan. That's what it's like being Notre Dame. Everybody hates Notre Dame. I do. I hate them.
I don't know who I hate more, Michigan or Notre Dame. I mean,
there's a lot of people that feel that way. There's
hold all tickets. We're going to the photo. It's a photo finish.
There's a lot of people that feel
Domers
that way. And speaking of that, I'll be rooting for Virginia Tech in Blacksburg playing Notre Dame this weekend. That'll be a great game. That Notre Dame's favored by 1 only. I think that's one of the best places to see a game, by the way, Blacksburg, Virginia. And then LSU loses again to Auburn. They've got to play Kentucky at Kentucky. Kentucky is hot, obviously undefeated in the SEC, getting no respect, number 16 after beating Florida, only number 16. And I say that kiddingly because, hey, they beat Florida, who was number 10, and they're undefeated. Why are they, now only number 16? Alabama's got A&M. It's a trap game for Alabama, but Alabama's so good, I don't expect them to lose. I mean, A&M's look like dirt.
Here's a question, Matt. Could Alabama beat the Jacksonville Jaguars?
They probably could, especially with what's going on with Urban right now. I think they could. I think Saban would destroy him. He would outcoach him for sure. Yep, I do.
Interesting.
The losers bracket. What do I mean by that? Arkansas, Ole Miss. They both were, running high. They both got beat down, back to earth. Those two play at Ole Miss. That'll be a good game. Arkansas, Mississippi, and then you got Georgia again playing Auburn in the down there in the Iron Bowl. We're not in the Iron Bowl, but they're playing at Auburn. And I think Georgia's good. I think they're just going to demolish them. They're going to demolish them.
Georgia, you spoke of it yesterday, the size and the athleticism of their line.
They got like a 380-pound defensive end and a 320, and he's the lightweight of the two. I mean, geez, those guys are big. So,
hey, Matt, we got breaking news here, and let me share. Lee thinks the Alabama could beat the Jets for sure.
Hey, the Jets won last weekend. I disagree. They could definitely beat the Jags, but not the Jets.
Matt, we have breaking news. To further protect its patients and caregivers during the COVID pandemic, St. Charles Health System announced today it will require, starting October 18th, that visitors to any of its hospitals or clinics be fully vaccinated. My question is, if you're visiting the ER, do you get turned around?
Right. Holy Nikes.
Is that
right? So, yeah. Well, I guess you got
what if I already had it? Doesn't matter.
Doesn't
matter.
No
rights.
Yep.
I don't know. The Upside Down world is fully available for you to participate in. The one that I wanted to try to find was a tweet about how, and this is perfect, right? In crypto, how the developers in mining and operating nodes in the Bitcoin world, this is all technical jargon, and there's been some advancements in the efficiency of nodes and operations. And the guy was saying, it's getting like mafiosa because people are protecting their turf and shutting down competition. Oh wow, that's weird. I thought crypto was supposed to change the narrative, except it's operated by people, and
Again,
people are all the same.
Power corrupts, right? It's the same old game.
It's unreal. Just like, oh wow, that's weird. No, it's not weird. That's how people operate.
Yeah, and by the way, just I'm hopping all around here, but I'm just thinking more about Peloton. By the way, that bike company, the mechanical bike, it's still a $25 billion market cap at these double bottoms. So keep that in mind.
25 billion
with
a B.
With a B.
Unreal.
A B. And the next earnings on that baby is coming up in August. So it'll be it'll be around Thanksgiving. So we got a bit of time, and their earnings were, they're losing money. So, be careful. And it wasn't a good quarter last quarter, and that's why it's been selling off. And, I think, the fact that, to your point, we're coming into the holidays, and again, will they even have, or will they have the demand for the product? Because, these aren't cheap things, and the free handout money is kind of long over now. I mean, that ended on September 1. So like just buying frivolous stuff, I think, is kind of over. And you kind of saw that even with Zoom. I mean, Zoom, we talked about it yesterday, but has really been zoomed. That stock.
Bring up the chart. Let's end on Zoom.
Okay. Since we are using their service, it has, it's completely collapsed. And people are like, well, what are you talking about? I'm like, well, it's trading $258. It was $590. So it is down, 60% from the high. And that was, 1 year ago. So if you bought that 1 year ago when we were doing the show and we were laughing about the parabola, well, the parabola it always works. It's just a matter of time when the time happens. But if you get the patience and the pockets, these parabolas always pay off. They just, on the short side, they just always do. And,
I'm fairly sure Zoom was the one that we were talking about market cap wise versus, Zoom versus XOM.
Yeah, we were back then. And we were suggesting to buy oil coming into, that period. And that obviously worked out to be XOM, worked out and XLE to be the opposite side of this trade.
It went from 18x almost.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, XOM right now is, almost at the highs. It got up to 70 or 65 ish and trading right around 61.5 right now. But, this is where that was last fall. That was down here.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, when you look at it, it was nearly 17 times.
And by the way, back then the dividend that it was paid was really high, and now Exxon, the dividend is still 5.6%, even though it's doubled. So, I mean, that was a great trade for you. It doubled your money, and you're getting paid a coupon to hold it. I mean, you really can't.
Now only a 4x, and that still seems ridiculous.
Well, it's 260 billion now, and since it's doubled, it was 130. They were the same market cap at that time, Bob, because
right. The stock price was a 17.
The same. They were this. I think is if I did the math, yeah. So here, this was trading at 600, and that's 60% off. That, so that was probably right around 160, 170, 180 billion market cap, and that's right where Exxon was at that time. So it was probably bigger than Exxon by 30 or 40, billion, which was hilarious to think about. And when they literally have nothing, they have nothing but this application that we're using right now.
SAS.
I mean,
it's software as a service.
Well, and it's the same. I mean, it's Gates couldn't take advantage of Skype and then all the other Uvu and all the other services that have been out there for the years couldn't figure it out. I've used them all, but here we are. Zoom seems, but again, there'll be something else that comes out that'll be better and shinier and faster and prettier. And it'll probably be, attached to your eyelid too. So.
All right. We got the coals on fire behind me here. So please, you could help us out by buying some rub and cooking a meal for a friend or family. All right. Do yourself a favor, cook someone a meal That's Manja TV's logo. Anyway, join us at marketvitals.io. Please retweet and share the broadcast far and wide. Understand that there is zero news anymore. It's all narrative. And so you really need to do a good job investigating yourself what is going on. And you know what else, Matt? I got to tell you, they do such a great job, just the volume of information and narrative that they drive at you. What they're really trying to do is suppress your instincts, right? Your gut feelings. I mean, how many times do you see something, you have a gut feeling about it and you have an instinct about it, but man, you get barraged 24/7, 365 days a year on a different narrative. And you're like, fuck, man, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. I see it so much.
I mean, I'm gonna put a call out there right now. Bob and I would like to start a class action lawsuit because we like to administer people at the hospital. Like, we like to go there and talk to people and just visit with them. You know, it's simple ministry. And so you're telling me now that if I don't have a vax card, I can't go minister people and I can't go talk and give them comfort in their times of need when they don't have family maybe that are around here. That's awful.
Yeah, and you know where the narrative completely breaks down is that you should have been able to verify that you've had it and antibodies, and there should be no talk about a vaccine passport.
No,
I mean, it should be none of the narrative. Anyway.
Total garbage. But as you said, they keep feeding it. Between that and, you know, the Justice Department is Garland's issuing warnings to go after, you know, the parents that are speaking out against CRT. It's like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, Marxist on top of Marxist. Okay, gotcha. Can't say what you want to say, and you can't support your own children at school board for speaking out against a Marxist philosophy called CRT. It's all made up BS. Come on, people.
All right, Matt. Trade discipline. That's
discipline. Yep.
Trade disciplined.
Wait for more.
We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you so much.